Hey YouTube universe, thank you for stopping by here at Comic Grandma. Today I have a little special kind of episode about 10 solo piano albums. If you're watching this during Thanksgiving time, I want to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving. If you're watching this after that holiday, I want to wish you guys a happy new year and just wishes and blessings for your life. Thank you for stopping by here. So I've seen 3 videos on a thread with the title being Gimme 10 solo piano albums. They've shown some amazing and great stuff. Great stuff from one of my favorite composers and piano artists like Thelonious Monk and Bill Evans. Unfortunately, I won't show any of that. I'm gonna try to stick to stuff that hasn't been shown. But of course, I would love to show some Thelonious Monk and Bill Evans. Unfortunately, I don't have any other solo piano stuff. Right now, we're listening to a great pianist, Nate Morgan, who released this album. I believe this was his debut. Amazing music, amazing work, amazing legend from the underground LA jazz scene. He actually played with Horace Tapscott, which I saw Sure from Julius Bar show his piano solo album. Unfortunately, I don't have any of his solo stuff. I have this one and I have this other one that's on its way, and that's him on the back. Amazing LA based underground jazz artist who started this movement, this music movement, and actually they this band here, the African People's Orchestra, which he directed and started, they practiced during at a church, and they had many people just come by and hear them out as they were doing their jam sessions and performing. So great jazz LA legend. If you're not familiar with him, there he is right there, Horace Tapscott. Now let's move on to the 10 solo albums that I have to show. On the video that I saw Rob starting was the first record he showed was by this composer, Edvard Grieg. I do have this piece called Lyric Pieces, and it's performed by Emil Giles or Giles. Not exactly sure how to pronounce his name. Might be killing it. So great stuff right here. The other one I have is this album here. I might be cheating a little bit on this one because on the B side there's actually some singing and some just solo piano playing, and a couple of songs singing by Pinetop Smith. So on this record, on the A side, you have the Jelly Roll Morton, and then you have James Price Johnson. These were recordings from the late 20s, I believe, 26 to 1930. Great stuff right here. Great stuff that you can see that influenced all the jazz artists that came after them. This has The Pearl, Sweetheart of Mine, Fat Meat and Greens, King Porter Stomp, Crying for the Carolines, What Is This Thing Called Love, and You Gotta Be Modernistic. I love the title of that song. This guy right here was actually the mentor for Fats Waller. So he was kind of his mentor, and Fats Waller kind of as he was developing in his style, he made a big influence on his life. Next we have the legendary George Gershwin. And this is a very interesting record. Actually, when I saw this, I was so surprised that this even existed. Because most of his stuff I believe has not been recorded. And according to the liner notes from this album, they kind of explain that thing as well, that most of his stuff was not recorded. The stuff that was recorded was not recorded at the best, with the best equipment or in the best situation per se. So the first side, it has Rhapsody in Blue, which is a very famous song that's been covered by orchestras. Great musician. His family was an immigrant from, I believe, Russia, and they were Jewish. Can't remember the exact their exact last name, because they ended up changing their last name to make it more Americanized. And actually, his name was like Polka or something like that. And they changed their name as well to George. So his family members changed their names and their last name during that time. Great composer. If you are a jazz lover, you might know his name from the credits. A lot of jazz musicians have covered a lot of his compositions. Next we have someone that I don't think I saw anybody talk about, Scott Joplin. These are piano rags by Scott Joplin. This is volume 3. I have volume 1, and I have a little box set of Scott Joplin. Maybe I'll show that at some other time. But these are just wonderful pieces by Scott Joplin. You might remember him from the famous song The Entertainer. That's the guy who composed it right here. He actually had a interesting life as well. You know, it was a little saddening to know that he actually, when he got married, he married his wife, and his wife out of a sudden just died like right after, with you know, like randomly just died. So that definitely hurt his life, and you can kind of see the stuff that he composed after that. You can kind of see that the death of his wife kind of affected his composing and influenced his composing. This is actually, the pianist for this is Joshua Rifkin. I think he's the only one I've seen play Scott Joplin stuff, recorded stuff. Might be forgetting. My memory hasn't been great the last few days of this year, but great stuff. Great composer who definitely played a big role in influencing jazz musicians, in any musician, I would say, from any pianist from 21st century. Next, we're gonna move into a little bit more modern stuff. And this, I have Liz Story with her debut album Solid Colors. That's kind of her in the 80s. I believe she's in her 60s now. That's a track list. And Liz Story was, I believe she was a Juilliard musician. She was native in LA, I believe. But the interesting thing is that actually she was influenced a lot by Bill Evans. That she actually has homage to this pianist, Bill Evans. The glare is so horrible. But the last piece on there, animation, amazing piece, pays homage to Bill Evans. And actually, she was influenced by Bill Evans playing, that she actually went to go ahead and try out playing as a jazz pianist. I've heard some of the other stuff which kind of experimented with synthesizers, but this is just piano. It's beautiful, amazing stuff here. So Liz Story, if you're not familiar with her, go ahead and check her out. And on the same label, There's a musician who I actually have been a fan for a very long time. And I was introduced through his music through an author. Let me go grab the book real quick. 1 second, guys. The author is Donald Miller. And this is one of his most famous books called Blue Like Jazz. That actually made it into a movie, which doesn't 100% follow the book. But Donald Miller, I was reading him at one time, and I believe the book was Painted Deserts, and he talked about George Winston, which is the other artist I'm going to talk about. So George Winston, solo piano stuff. He released this record around Christmas time. I believe it was in 82. So this one's called December. And I believe kind of like a little concept follow-up albums that he released, because he released this one. He released Winter into Spring. I was just listening to this last night. What a beautiful, amazing album. I just realized I had a few copies of it, and they're all different pressings. This is a DMM pressing. What an amazing album. I love the song Reflection. The last song, side A. I mean, you can go ahead and YouTube that song. It's a beautiful song. And then he has this one, George Winston, Autumn. And I believe there's a couple more off this that I cannot, have not been able to get yet to complete my George Winston records. Then I have Sviatoslav Richter. Hope I'm not murdering that name. Schumann is a wonderful record. It's off Decca Gold Series, and that's the pianist there. Beautiful record. It has 6 pieces by Schumann that he performed. Beautiful performance for me. Another pianist, classical pianist, who's been one of my favorites for a long time is Horowitz. And I'm showing this one. I have a few of his records. I'm showing this one because this was actually the first record that I got from Horowitz. And it's kind of like one of those, things that you treasure, the first kind of records from an artist, the first records that you kind of hold on to, because it was the first kind of album you picked up when you were collecting. But this was one of them. And Horowitz, I'm never dissatisfied by any Horowitz performance. I mean, he was probably one of the few musicians who I've listened to and then actually went on YouTube to see any live performance that I can find from him. So this was one of the persons who actually I do that with. So this one has a full blend of different composers: Schubert, Scarlatti, Schumann, and Scriabin on there. I just love his playing. I don't know. I feel like it's like anybody else. Not like anybody else. And then I have one album that I've shown before. Shown a couple of months ago, and this is Kurt Kaiser, the piano, and the album's called An Offering. And what an amazing album of just tunes, spiritual tunes for the church. Kind of see the track list there. Sorry for the glare, guys. Beautiful record. I actually listened to this last night again to just enjoy. I'm gonna end with this record. which is another beautiful record. This is Songs Without Words by John Robertson, another Juilliard scholar, who I believe this was recorded. He was actually native to Glendale here in LA as well, and then moved on to Texas, and then moved to Alabama. So that's John Robertson here. Beautiful record. He was a Jamaican, Jamaican descent. He was born in Jamaica, and then moved to California and grew up in LA. So that's the last one I have to show you guys. I believe that was about 10. I didn't 100% count them. I think I counted them once, but when I was going to make the video and get ready for it, I didn't double check. So I hope that was 10 of them. I hope you were exposed to some new pianists, and I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I just want to say thank you for stopping by, and I want to say blessings on this upcoming holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. If you don't celebrate any of the holidays, just want to wish you the best, and I hope you're in good health. Hope you're in peace with others, in peace with yourself, and just want to welcome you back for the next video. And I also don't want to forget to share with you guys, there is a contest going on the channel currently. So if you would like to kind of participate, check out that contest video if you're interested. So be in peace with yourself, be in peace with others. Have a great week, and I'll see you on the next one. Firmes y adelante.